Hey Alpha fam, welcome back to another episode of Alpha Commission. Today on Alpha Commission, of course, we're going to go over that continued march on the BTC chart. Guys, if we do just go straight to the chart today, we can see that we have just been having this slow grind to the upside while holding that bullish control zone. And as long as we are above that bullish control zone, above 35,420-ish, then we do have a chance to just continue to pop, okay? That's the nature of the bullish control zone. But currently we are underneath our volatility pivot, and that has been giving us a little bit of resistance. Let's compare that to our previous chart, where you can see that we did have that volatility pivot above us over here as well, and that did result in a little bit of a pullback. Well, today we have it just above our current candle, and so could we get a little bit more of a pullback down to the bottom of this pool, maybe around 36,500? Well, that's in the cards, and if we do lose 36,000, that would be our first kind of indication that we're probably going to retest that bullish control zone and see if we can actually hold it, maybe do a check back to this Bollinger Band midline on the daily here. But so far, guys, this just looks pretty good. And if we do capture the volatility pivot at 37,241 with some solid candle closure there on the day, then that would imply continuation, as everything is just bullishly oriented. Looking back a couple days ago, you can see that we did have that volatility pivot underneath us, and being underneath us, we were managed to flip that into support, grabbing the pool here, this momentum pool, and the volatility pivot. And so that is how we just got that little bit of a launch. Now over time, if we just go sideways, that pivot will come down. So if we do just grind this out a little bit more sideways, then in a few days, maybe by the end of the week, this pivot could lower itself, and perhaps we'll have another chance to launch off of that. But right now, everything is just bullishly oriented, so I really wouldn't be looking for any shorts in particular. Knowing that this thing could just pop and have another drive there. Now, if we do look at the indications over here, we can see that on the stochastic, we actually are starting to lose that really bullish critical area. Although we are still in the bullish control zone on the stoch, we are looking like we may put in a lower high, and that could foretell a potential drop later on, right? So again, just because we drive up in price, it doesn't mean that we can't be acquiring some type of divergences that could bring us down over time. And if we do look at some of these other momentum oscillators, we can see that they do have a similar look. Here on the RSI, we also have a lower high, so that's also going to be, most likely a bearish divergence there, and that's going to be 1-2 drives of bearish divergence. If we do just pull back on the RSI a little bit more and make another lower high while price maybe even spikes up, then that's probably going to be 3 drives of bearish divergence that most likely will bring the chart back down. So we are going to have all eyes on this RSI indicator. And as you can see, we also are starting to reapproach that midline of the TDI there on the RSI. And normally when we do cross that midline of the TDI, similar to the Bollinger Band on the candles themselves, that does indicate where we're most likely to break down. So as we're checking back there and putting in a little bit of this head and shoulders formation, if we do lose that TDI midline, then I would expect some type of retracement on the real price. But so far, things just look good. And again, as long as we're above 35,400, there's really no issue on the day, especially if we're above that 36,500, which we currently are, and above 37,200. And let's just say 70 to be conservative because of the MACD traders, then most likely we will be just having bullish continuation. Where does this thing really start to flip to the downside? That's going to be if we lose this kind of 31,000 to a $30,000 area. Then not only on the daily, but also on the weekly, you're going to start breaking things, and we could be looking at that point down to 28 and perhaps even lower. All right, guys, that's going to be your alpha for the day. Stay safe and happy trading.